I don't understand. How people don't want to make America great again? Explain it to me. Do you want to make America great again? Yes or no?
I think it's already, it's got some problems that need to be taken care of, but I don't know if I would approach the issues the same way as Mr. Trump.
Like, do you believe in capitalism?
I kind of follow Bernie's ideas. So,
Which are, socialism?
He's more of a social democrat. He's kind of like FDR. Bernie is actually, he calls himself a democratic socialist, but he's more of a social democrat.
Okay, why would he call himself social democrat? I have some problems with social democrats. Say I was born and raised in USSR, so whenever I hear socialism, well, I would say I spent most of my adult life in Moscow. Moscow, yeah,
so
right.
Actual Russian.
29 years of my life was taken away by those freaking socialists. Do you think that I react?
That's them. Stalinists are different. There's decent people that are for socialism, like you go to Sweden, stuff like that.
They're not socialists. The Prime Minister of Denmark pleaded with Bernie Sanders, please stop calling us socialists. Social democracy, yes. Socialist, completely different thing. Nothing to do with social democracy.
What went on in Russia? I mean, just from what I understand from my in-laws who came from Ukraine, doesn't sound to me like anything like what I would think of as socialism, except for they said it was socialism. It was the dictatorship.
Correct.
It wasn't.
Correct.
Socialism would be something completely different. Socialism
No.
is where the working people own and control the means of production.
Theoretically, yes.
Yes. And
theoretically.
that's what I think of as socialism. If it's not that, or if it's not that, then it's not socialism. And whatever crap that they call, whatever they might call it, they can call that heaven on earth. But you and I know it's not heaven on earth.
But aren't words supposed to have meaning? That's what bugs me.
What's that?
Call social democracy. I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. That's what they're practicing in Scandinavia. But using socialist democrat, which by the way is an oxymoron.
Democratic socialist.
I mean, it doesn't matter. But it's an oxymoron. There is no democracy in socialism.
What do you mean there's no democracy?
Because there's no democracy in socialism. Name me one socialist country. USSR, one of the S's stands for what?
Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Socialist.
Yeah, but they call themselves that. I can call myself rich. It's not going to make me rich.
That's the whole point. But every single time, every single country that will call itself socialist always resulted in totalitarianism. So socialism, by definition, is the system where profit is criminalized and where everything belongs to the government. Right or wrong? I mean, that's the definition of socialism.
No.
What do you mean, no?
You look in the dictionary, the definition of socialism.
I shouldn't believe the dictionary then. Merriam-Webster.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I should discard it.
Yeah, well, I read the manifesto and I got some ideas from them, but I think that when you talk about communists, that's one thing. And even if you were talking about communists, a communist system would be better than what happened in Russia. Russia was like that guy. Stalin took over. He collectivized those farms in the Ukraine. He did he killed millions of his own people, and then he complains about the Germans.
Some of your friends don't believe that, but that's another story.
I don't know what all my friends believe.
50 million say what? 50? Nah, there was such a thing.
8 million Ukrainians starved in 2 years, according to my father-in-law, who said it repeatedly. Every time somebody says something about the Holocaust, he says, "Wait, they always talk about that Holocaust. 8 million Ukrainians died in 2 years."
So that's how your father.
1/4 of the population.
So he was speaking with his Ukrainian accent.
Yeah.
So he's Ukrainian. He's not Jewish. He's Ukrainian, right?
Yeah, he's Ukrainian.
Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if he was Jewish Ukrainian, he'd probably be talking a little bit differently. But anyway, I listened to those guys, and my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, who are deceased. But it kind of opened
So
my
Holodomor
mind up.
did happen, and it wasn't a mistake. I just the other day, the other hour, just an hour ago, spoke with some, young kind of interesting girl who was saying that Holodomor,
Holodomor?
Holodomor. I mean, Holodomor, what happened in the famine in Ukraine? It's called Holodomor, Holodomor.
Okay. See, I heard it when I was in a Ukrainian church and they started talking to me about
Yeah,
stuff. They also were
Holodomor.
asking me for money before. They seemed like they wanted me to give them a whole lot of money before I could leave. But I kind of made a quick exit because, you know, I don't need to. I didn't.
So you have first-hand experience. I mean, your own parents saw Holodomor.
In-laws. Yeah.
So Holodomor. So it's a fact that it happened.
Well, to
right?
me, it seemed very real that they had real emotion, and they always have seemed to me to be honest and straightforward about stuff like that. I mean, they're not perfect, but
yeah, but
I believe them.
But it's like
them.
happen and not happen. It's like there's this dichotomy.
I think it happened
Because I know that it happened,
yeah,
but there are deniers who are saying that Holodomor was kind of mistake. It wasn't really caused on purpose. Well, yes, it was. It absolutely was.
If
genocide.
I could go back in time, I would take out two people for sure.
Lenin first.
Well, no, not Lenin.
Not Lenin?
Lenin is not Stalin and
you
and
wouldn't
Adolf.
take out Lenin? Really?
No, I don't know
Really?
that much about Lenin that would want me to take him out.
Really?
No.
I mean, he was the guy who created the system that allowed someone like Stalin to take over. Do you think in our current system that we have today, with all its, let's say, flaws, we would ever have someone like Stalin usurping power?
I really don't think that Mr. Trump, he uses the same kind of things as Hitler uses as far as scapegoating people.
So he can.
It's like he could. I don't think
he can create Holodomor. He can kill millions of innocent people. He's capable of in our system of government when he becomes president.
I'm saying not that he's going to create Holodomor, but that he's using similar totalitarian techniques.
Like what?
The scapegoating,
Like what?
dividing and conquering, scapegoating. Well, he tells all of us that we have a lot of problems in this country. The reason we have problems is because we're not bombing the Arabs enough. We're not bombing the Muslims enough. We aren't. It's those darn Muslims coming into our country, those darn Mexicans coming into our country. It's those immigrants, it's the African Americans, it's the this, it's the that. Those are the reasons why we have problems. Yes, you see that guy protesting in our thing, in our thing. Yeah, beat him up. What kind of a guy? This is not a good guy.
He's a very good guy. Do you think that do we have an Islamic terrorist problem here in our country? I mean, would you regard that as one of the top issues?
The top issue is climate emergency.
Really?
That's the
Really?
top security issue for the United States. Climate emergency.
So terrorism really doesn't matter.
Terrorism will come from climate emergency, as it is doing in Syria.
Really?
And that's part of what's causing what's going on in Syria is
climate
change.
Climate change causes all these problems in the world.
Climate change causes lots of problems. When you don't have enough water to drink, when you don't have enough water
you
to grow
start killing
your
each
food,
other, right?
Well, people are going to fight over the scarce resources.
Really?
And that's what's happening.
And why are the sources scarce? I mean, there are countries that are solely like Israel, for instance. Most of its country is the desert. Look, they turned desert into the blooming orchards. I mean, they literally made desert bloom. Why can't Syrians make desert bloom?
Well, I'm not sure that all of it was desert that was completely worthless. I think that some of the olive groves at
We're not talking about olives. We're talking about the actual blooming desert. Have you been to Israel?
No, I have not been to Israel.
But do you know that Israelis created the agricultural system that they export all over the world, specifically to the countries like Syria, for instance, that does allow them to make deserts literally bloom? Do you know that when it comes to water resources, most of their water supply comes from the desalination plants? It's doable. Nothing to do with, even if hypothetically climate change is happening, there's the way of dealing with it. Israel is the example.
Okay. We look into it. You know, I can't really explain all the stuff. I can't relate to you in a good enough way that you would be convinced.
Okay.
But it is really important. For one thing, the climate change, raising the heat, the level, you just can't grow stuff above a certain temperature. We're talking about 3-4 degrees centigrade raise in temperature by the end of the century. That's going to be huge.
But theory is happening today, not the end of the century.
There's already been a one degree raise in centigrade.
Yeah, I recognize this guy. Hey!
All right. So you know what? It's good talking to you.
All right. So
My name's Dan. Are you?
Well, I'm just my own man. See, look, this is my legitimate business on this card. If you flip it over, Vladimir. Right. Well, of course, coming from USSR, you know, that's the most common name. I don't like it. That's how my parents called me. I figured if I change my last name, I figured if I change Vladimir to, let's say, John Jaffe, and I still have an accent, it's gonna look little weird. Yeah. But Vladimir Jaffe, everybody knows what I'm talking about, right?
Vladimir.
So in the back, if you flip it over,
okay, I'll be there in a few.
Then you'll find this video. I'm sure you didn't mind me, recording you on our YouTube, where I kind of debate people like yourself who have different views, or just any views. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Agree or disagree, we can talk about so many issues. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. I'm sure you will agree that Hillary is up to no good, right?
I don't trust Hillary to do the right thing, but I'm hoping that she'll disappoint me and do better than what I expect, because it looks like it's either a choice of her or Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, I know, is going to do some things I don't want to have happen. Well, I don't know. Actually, you can't tell what he's going to do, because he says one thing, then next week he says something different. So I don't know exactly what he's going to do, but I'm afraid of some of the things he says he's going to do.
I was at the Republican convention last week.
You were?
Yes.
Did you have a good time?
It was the party of my lifetime, really.
All right. Well,
I met a lot of congressmen, including Paul Ryan, for instance. I even met Trump. I mean, I saw Trump like I see you. I got an autograph from him. Of course, I didn't have a chance to talk to him. But when it comes to his speech, that particular night, I was sitting kind of, little suite over there, so I could see the what do you call it, the large monitor.
Yeah.
So he was reading, off this monitor. Yeah. So I read his entire speech.
I could just read the speech.
Exactly.
You didn't have to listen to it.
I know.
It helps a lot for me. I've got, I can't always hear. So if I can see, it helps.
But it's also a little, distracting, because you want to hear the guy. But willy-nilly, you're reading the speech. You're reading before he says it.
Yeah.
So it's a little, I was trying not to read it, concentrate on him speaking. Yeah. But speaking of his agenda, it's a very good agenda. I really have very few things that I disagree with him on. It's just common sense. Most of it is common sense. I
disagree with most of what he says, but
do you know what he says? That's another question. Do you know his agenda?
What I've heard of what he says, yes, I disagree with it.
You disagree?
Okay. I'm telling you, my distillation of it is, it's all somebody else's fault. We gotta put the clamps on these people, and everything will be cool. But that's the basic synopsis. But I just want to say one thing.
Sure.
Moje mia Danilo, Damian pivo.
Well, that was in Ukrainian. Меня зовут Володя. Очень приятно. It was a pleasure.
That's all I know how to say. So whatever you said, you could have said.
That's good enough.
You could have said, eat, shit, and die, and I wouldn't know the difference.
I wouldn't say that. I said it was a pleasure.
Okay. It was nice talking to you, too. You're a very entertaining guy.
Okay, thanks. See ya.
All right.
Bye-bye.